All right, more than 60,000 Army National Guard and Reserve soldiers are going to lose all pay and benefits because they aren't vaccinated against COVID-19. The deadline was June 30th. The Army saying, quote, soldiers who refuse the vaccination order without an approved or pending exemption, by the way, they approved 0 of them, requests are subject to adverse administrative actions, including flags, bars to service, and official reprimands. While Minnesota gubernatorial candidate Dr. Scott Jensen had the courage to question mandates while others in his field complied, he joins us now. Doctor, you're running for governor, which would put you in charge of the Minnesota National Guard. It's a great outfit. I've been a part of it. But I got to believe they're in a bind, too, with the DOD saying these shots are mandatory. How would you handle this with your understanding of the vaccine mandates and the position you're running for?
I certainly would not be doing this. I think it's interesting, Pete, that even this morning, the University of Minnesota study regarding metformin and COVID-19 came out. And what this indicates is that metformin, a very common generic drug, could be used off-label and potentially reduce hospitalizations and deaths with COVID-19. The reason I mention this is because this is exactly what we should be doing, is we should be watching, monitoring, and things like that. The idea of demandating that these soldiers, the National Guard, has to take a vaccine, which has now been identified with this BA.5 Omicron variant as virtually ineffective, makes no sense at all. I don't think we're really following the science, being nimble. I would not lead this way. We are basically making victims of people who have said, we'll protect our country at our own risk.
Absolutely. And these are young, healthy Americans who have thus far continued to want to serve, and they're being pushed out to this moment. I want to get to the race you're running there in Minnesota. A lot of people look at Minnesota and they say, blue state, going to be a blue state, will be a blue state. Yet, whether it's COVID mandates or the chaos we saw over the 4th of July and the crime downtown in Minneapolis, people are looking for an alternative. Is Minnesota even in play in 2022 for the red wave?
Minnesota is in play because what's on the ballot in November is the cost of gas and groceries. I have patients coming to my office frightened and crying about what should they do with the last $100 in their checkbook, fill their gas tank, or should they go get groceries for the family? People are absolutely beyond frustration, they're outraged. And I think you're also going to see public safety, you're going to see student choice. These are the things that people are furious about. And I think that they see a lack of leadership in Minnesota with Tim Walz, as many states do. And they're saying, we've had enough. We need strong, trustworthy leaders that are going to lead, not simply respond to the winds of politics. So I think Minnesota has the potential to literally lead the nation, because if Minnesota goes red in November, that's going to swing a lot of influence with a whole lot of states, and we could end up seeing a real return to the principles of freedom.
Let's hope so. I know the race was moved to toss-up, which surprised a lot of people. The state of New Jersey almost went Republican in 2021. We'll see what happens in 22. By the way, your running mate, Matt Burke, former Minnesota Vikings Super Bowl champ, so quite a unique ticket there in Minnesota. Dr. Jensen, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Pete.
You got it.